Hi, LinkedIn friends. I'm Debbie Merajian, and we're going to have a series of pop-ups here on my recording. And it is the next day of my 45-day challenge. I think it's day 17, and I'm here with my niece, Hannah Schnars.
Hi.
Hi, Han. And she lives in Florida. And Hannah, go ahead and introduce yourself to our LinkedIn friends.
Hi, LinkedIn friends. I'm Hannah. I'm Debbie's niece, and I'm a fourth-year vet student here at the University of Florida. So about to graduate pretty soon here, and hopefully go into working into shelter medicine and/or wildlife rehab.
Congrats, Hannah. And, Hannah's background includes, ever since she was a little girl, she'd say, Aunt Debbie, all the B's in my name there, just for you, Hannah. But you would say, listen, Aunt, I love this animal and that animal. And so, since an early age, she was out rescuing animals and caring for them. And it's just been amazing. She's done all kinds of volunteer work throughout her whole life. And I've just never seen anybody in my life connected to animals as much as Hannah. So Hannah, we're going to talk about how health and animals come into play, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you've seen in terms of how animals and pets impact people in a positive way and how it makes a difference in their lives and in their health.
Definitely. There's so many areas of your life that animals can improve, not only your physical health, but also your mental and emotional well-being. And this is all ages of people, from children to older adults, young adults, and even the elderly people. So, everybody knows how having a companion that loves you forever and unconditionally, that obviously contributes to your self-esteem and just kind of gives you this sense of pride and sense of security in yourself that people who don't have pets actually have shown to not have as high of self-esteem. And on top of that, animals can really give you a sense of responsibility and structure in and of yourself, just caring for an animal. So people often don't realize they are very structured and very regimented. So it kind of helps you to, get up every day, feed your dog or your cat, take them for a walk, and they're expecting you to be there and do that on time. So it gives you a sense of accountability and responsibility as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the happiness that pets and animals bring. When I was a nursing assistant many years ago, before you were born, they used to bring pets into what they called the nursing home back then, or one of the skilled nursing facilities. And I would see people who had had strokes, or people that just weren't talking, depressed and what have you. And they might have connected with one of the little dogs or cats or big dog even. And sure enough, they would smile and begin to talk. I saw this happen with babies and animals both. And it was a beautiful experience, and so
Nice.
what have you seen in terms of how, like a real life scenario?
So I actually used to be a substitute teacher before I went to vet school. And I found it so interesting to be able to talk to the kids about animals. And every time I mentioned something about animals, their eyes would just light up and they would get so excited. And at the time I was working at a wildlife rehab facility in Sanibel. It's called Crow. And so I would tell the kids about, the armadillos and the possums and the raccoons and the squirrels that we were helping. And they were just completely captivated, completely interested in learning. When I couldn't get them to focus on other subjects throughout the day, they were sitting there hanging on my every word. And so it was so cute. And it was such a great educational moment too, to spread information about, you know, safety things, how to approach animals and diseases and things like that. So in my personal life, that's where I saw that come to life. And just from research I've done too, it's been shown that kids who have ADHD and hyperactive disorders, having a pet that is there, not judging them, or like a parent kind of nagging them, or a teacher, the animal is completely non-judgmental and it's solely their companion, and that actually helps them to give them a sense of pride and security and be able to focus and do better for themselves. So it's amazing. They're still doing a lot of studies on, children and animals and development and all those types of things, but there has been some interesting things published about the impact animals have on children. So it's great.
Without a doubt. And let's have you introduce your your family. How many dogs? What type are they? Their names, and cats, and how you rescued them, and how all that happened, and what a difference have they made in your life?
Definitely. So I'll start off, I'll go in order, I guess. So I first found my Jack Russell. Jack, he's 11 now. I found him when I first came to college. He was a stray, and he's just been with me ever since. He's my heart animal. He's everything. And then later on, just about a year after I got him, I was volunteering at the Humane Society here in Gainesville. And there was this little puppy that just loved me, and I worked with her every day, and I couldn't resist her, and she would scream and cry whenever I would leave her kennel. So that's how I ended up with my dog Layla. So I've had those two for the past decade now. They've been with me through thick and thin. And then a couple of years later, I found a litter of kittens by my mom's house. We have a lot of community cats down in South Florida. And so they do a lot of trap neuter return, but it's still difficult to get the population under control. So I had found this litter of kittens, and I raised them as my bottle babies and hand raised them. And so I just couldn't bring myself to get rid of them. So that's how I got my cats. And then just when I started,
give us their names. Give us their names.
So there's two orange boys, TJ and Little Man, and then two tortoiseshell girls, and those are Angel and Pretty Princess. So they're my loves. And then when I started vet school, I thought it'd be a good idea to get a puppy. Well, I was fostering him at first, but I can't foster. It's a foster fail. So that's how I ended up with my dog Loki as well. He's a little shepherd husky mix. So he's an interesting little guy. And then just recently I adopted a guinea pig, and her name is Luna. So she's a little princess for sure. So
what's amazing is they all get along relatively well with one another.
Yeah, they
do. Don't you think?
They really do.
That's an interesting dynamic, and Loki looks like a little coyote meets fox, I think, and he's sweet, and Jackie, and Layla, and it's just a nice family there. And now Luna is the new addition with the kitties in between. So the cats never try to come over and nudge at Luna, or no?
No, actually, I'm surprisingly, I don't have a problem with the cats trying to go after the guinea pig. They just don't mind her at all. So it actually, maybe I'm lucky, but
or maybe it's your aura of saying, hey, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I do try to do a lot of enrichment with all of my animals too, which is a whole other topic. But if you kind of keep them satisfied and meet their needs in all these different ways, then they're pretty content for the most part. So I try to do that and, keep them all so happy as they can be.
So Hannah, I want to touch upon some safety issues, if I may, because a lot of older adults, ask me, "Hey, can I get a dog? I really want to start running," and so forth. I have seen some situations or been told about situations where the dog can go a little too quickly, and this isn't relegated solely to age. It's with people that may, not exercise a lot and not be able to run like that. So, do you have any advice for people, in terms of what type of dog or that they would select? Because it's mostly a dog that's going to go out running. I think we've known a few cats that wouldn't mind a leash and act like
Yeah,
dogs, but I think you've seen it
yeah.
all. Do you have any advice or parameters for people like that?
Yeah, so I think a big misconception is people get an idea in their head about a breed that they want, and that is what they go off of is I want this breed, and they have their heart set on that. And I can totally understand that. But at the same time, it's really about matching the energy level of the dog with the energy level of the owner. That is so important because, if you're an active person that goes hiking every day and wants a dog to run with you and go to the beach and play sports, then you're not going to want, a dog that just wants to lay around all day. And so it's really important to really think about that. Like, what kind of dog do I want? What kind of lifestyle do I have? And what kind of things can I do with my dog? Do I have a yard? Where do you go? Are there places you could take them?
Yeah.
Do you need a dog that can ride in the car? And so that's not always something you can just figure out just by meeting them at the Humane Society or wherever you go. So I'm a big fan of fostering to adopt. Because you can actually bring the animal into your home while everything, is still being paid for by the shelter or the rescue organization, and you have no strings attached, and you can just kind of try it out. It's like a trial period and see how they fit into your house with your lifestyle, with your home. And if they don't, that's okay. There's nothing to feel bad about. You just have to realize that there's another owner that would be a better match for them. And this is going to be your companion for 10, 15 years. So you want to make sure that they're a good match for you. So I think fostering is the best way to go because you can really live with them and take them in the car and see if they like to do what you like to do. So
And I have with all of the animals that we see in the shelters here, I guess just alone in the United States and the vast rate at which the kittens can, have, litters and things like that, spaying and neutering isn't always a possibility, for like you mentioned, those stray cats, the feral cats, and so forth. So can you touch upon, I know some of my friends have to have a pedigree, they have to have, I would say a British short hair, but you know what? They'll go to the shelter and also adopt one to even it out. But is there anything that you have found in terms of, are the shelters at its zenith in terms of being overcrowded, or people starting to adopt more from shelters and, just to kind of equal it out? And what are the advantages of adopting from a shelter, and what does it do for the animal's life, the owner's life, and so forth?
that's a great question. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is people don't really think about how many animals are actually sitting in shelters. We have in the US alone right now 6 million animals in shelters. And shelters are just overflowing. They're understaffed. Unfortunately, they don't have the resources and the funding to keep up with the volume of animals that are stray animals and coming in off of the streets. And we have the whole feral cat issue, which we can talk about too, but that's a whole other thing. But basically, I feel that a lot of people aren't aware of what it kind of almost like an epidemic this is with animals in the shelter and the reality of the situation. And even I didn't know how bad it was until I started working in shelters. And it's like you have very limited resources. You have to make do with what you have, and you just have to do the best you can do. It's not an ideal situation, but at least we have somewhere for those animals to go. But I totally get that there's a whole culture to dog breeding and dog showing, and people being raised with certain pets, and they have their heart set on that pet, or it reminds them of growing up. And I don't fault people at all for that. I totally get it. But I do think, you know, a misconception is that all shelter animals are going to be a project, or, you know, a bunch of work and all of those types of things, or they've had a traumatic past and they're like scarred by their past and they have emotional issues. And while that is the case some of the time, I would say in my experience, it's a smaller percentage of the time. And overall, you know, animals don't have complex emotions like we have. Of course, they remember things, but they don't feel like pride and guilt, and those complex emotions. And so it's very easy for them to move past what has happened to them and, you know, just accept and invite new people into their life, which is amazing, as we've seen in all these videos, like from the dodo and, you know, these amazing videos. And so while that's not always the case, and we have to be realistic, you know, shelter pets can surprise you. They really can. Like, they can make really great companions. They're going to love you just as much as, you know, a purebred puppy or kitten or what have you. And another thing that I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of is that animals that are mixed breeds and don't have this perfect pedigree, you know, purebred lineage, they actually have something called hybrid vigor. And they've actually proven to be healthier overall and have less medical issues and longer lifespans. So in terms of like looking financially down the road, you know, if you're getting an English bulldog, you're going to have a lot more medical bills than a mixed breed dog overall from the shelter.
Yes. And also the suffering of their own health. Nobody wants to stand by and watch that happen. And you make a great point.
Exactly.
And I can say, you know, I think that every animal that I've ever had, cats, like we had, you know, the Star and Mr. Howe, and they lived what, you know, 15, 17 years and stuff, and they were happy. Sure, they had their ways. Cats are going to be cats. And now we have Penny. But, you know, she was quite sick when we got her, and the people were just, you know, not able to keep her. And, you know, they asked us and they said, please. And she's really come a long way, but she's still feisty as ever. That's why you got to love Penny. I'm going to try to get her on screen here. Do you have Jackie with you, or Layla? Come here.
I do. Yeah, Jackie's sleeping right over here.
Hi, Pete.
Oh.
Penny.
Hi, Penny.
Say hi to him.
So cute.
Say hello. Say hi to Lincoln, friends. Mwah. All right, she's ready to take off.
Oh.
You have Jackie with you at least?
Yeah, he's right here. Let me grab him.
Come on, Jackie. And this may extend long, which is fine because this is a wonderful video, and then we'll take it over to YouTube. And I'm still trying to figure out all this Zoom thing. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
You say hi.
Yeah. And then I have Paulina with me. Come on in, Paulina.
Hello. Hi, Paulina.
Hi, this is my daughter, Paulina. So Hannah and Paulina are a couple years apart. Hi, Jackie. I can't see your face. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, Jackie. He just woke up from a nap, so he's a bit sleepy.
So talk about how Jackie and everybody, Loki and Layla, all your kitties and Luna, have enriched your life, Hannah, as we close out here on this segment.
Definitely. So, yeah, when I first got Jackie, I had just come to college and I was on my own for the first time, and I had never lived alone or any of that. And so it was kind of scary being without my family up here. I just felt kind of lost. And then he came along and he's been with me ever since, you know, and he's enriched my life in so many ways. I can't even, you know, he just goes everywhere with me. He makes me go places that I wouldn't go normally. He keeps me on a schedule. He, you know, he's the best.
I know. And Jackie is sweet. I've met Jackie and spent time with Jackie, and he's been so gracious to allow all of you know, everybody else into the family, Layla and Loki and Luna and Jay and Little Man and Pretty Princess and Angel, you know. So I think
Yeah.
that's says a lot for Jackie and for you. Are there any closing comments that you would like to say out there in regards to health or animals or anything to our LinkedIn friends here?
Yeah, just that, you know, I'm so glad. Thank you all for watching this video and wanting to learn more about animals and animal health. And hopefully we can do more videos in the future. There's so many topics, you know, to cover with how human and animal health overlap, and zoonotic diseases and community cats. And so hopefully we'll see more of those conversations in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, Hannah's a vegetarian, I'm a vegetarian, Paulina's a vegetarian. So you know, and I want to talk one time about your work with the cows, maybe in a future video. I thought that was so fascinating. Your work with horses, your work with the Jim Crow volunteerism over on Sanibel Island, where you see a lot of reptilian life, right? You see the gators over there and all kinds of wildlife, the birds and so forth. So it's just been a blessing to have you today, Hannah. Thank you, my niece. I love you. Mwah.
Love you. I enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun.
Okay, let's do it again. All right.
Definitely.
Y'all have a good day, LinkedIn friends, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Debbie Marajian, and this concludes, I think, the best video to date of my 45-day video challenge, day 17. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.